Joining us is Republican Congressman Michael Waltz, a member of the Armed Services Committee. First, Congressman, what do you expect from that press conference that they're about to hold?
Who knows? I mean, this is essentially a fishing expedition. This is an investigation in search of a crime. I think the Secretary of State is right to draw the line at direct contact with State Department employees. And, you know, it is just never going, as we've seen from Mueller to now transition to this, it is just never going to be enough. They are going to want more and more and more and more.
So they say he's stonewalling. He says they're bullying. Pompeo says they're bullying, and he will not tolerate that. Has he thrown a wrench into the speed by which Democrats were hoping to proceed with this impeachment inquiry?
Well, they're clearly looking to ram this thing through as quickly as possible, I think, as a reaction to how long the Mueller probe took, and that this would, you know, the calculation is that this will be better for them politically, and they want to get it done in time to hurt the president as we run into 2020 and the 2020 elections.
Jim Jordan is making the case that Adam Schiff is just plain too biased to lead this investigation. Here's Jim Jordan making that case on Hannity last night.
Nancy Pelosi putting Adam Schiff in charge of this impeachment inquiry is exactly what Jim Comey did when he put Peter Strzok in charge of the Trump-Russia investigation. Someone as biased as Adam Schiff. The president is right. They've already made a determination. They don't care about the facts. They don't care about the truth. And the American people see through it.
So can the case be made that Schiff is just too biased to lead this impeachment inquiry?
Well, I think Representative Schiff has made his agenda clear, and that's to impeach the president. This is the same person who pounded the table that he had beyond circumstantial evidence that the president had colluded with the Russians, which we've now seen to be false. So I do think that it should be called into question. But I do think his agenda is very clear. And meanwhile, he's leading an intelligence community committee with oversight of the intelligence community, and we have China stealing our secrets left and right. We have huge issues that we should be dealing with in the intelligence community, and we're not, because it's essentially become the impeachment committee.
Well, he is the chairman of the House Intel Committee, so we'll see where that goes next. Meanwhile, I got to ask you about the big news with the State Department approving this $39 million weapons package for Ukraine. As someone who sits on the Armed Services Committee, can you tell us, Congressman, what do we need to know about that?
Well, this is for Javelin missiles, which are anti-tank missiles that can defeat Russian armor. This isn't the first batch that the Ukrainians have bought. It's important to note that the Obama administration would not provide these weapons. The Trump administration, for those who say he's soft on Russia, is providing Ukraine these weapons. And this is another batch of them. And it's also important to note that this was not part of the package that the president had questions about and put a temporary halt on. So even though they were mentioned in the transcript, the Ukrainians have been buying these. Congress has been approving them, and I think it's a great thing. My Green Berets have used them in the field, and it's a fantastic system.
It's a great point to make. So important to point out that this is separate from the $250 million in aid that was held up before that now highly criticized phone call. Go ahead.
And another point there is the president has questioned foreign aid and its effectiveness, how it's being used, and whether there was corruption involved across the board, whether it's the Central American Triangle countries, whether it's Afghanistan or Ukraine. He has questioned that across a number of countries. So to say that was a quid pro quo, I just think is disingenuous.
All right. Well, there is a lot of debate still on that, and we'll see where all that goes. Got to ask you about Pyongyang test firing a ballistic missile. All of this just hours after agreeing to resume nuclear talks with the U.S. What does it mean?
Well, look, I supported the president in the original summit. I think we had to try something different and unconventional, but time is not on our side here. The North Koreans are developing better and better capabilities. This gives them a second strike capability to launch from submarines that they are continuing to develop. And I think at some point soon, we need to hold their feet to the fire, resume the maximum pressure campaign. They are showing no signs of denuclearizing, and they are going to continue to develop more sophisticated capabilities. This has me really very concerned, and it's very troubling for our allies in South Korea and Japan as well.
The State Department did quickly condemn the launch, calling on the North to, quote, refrain from provocations. What do you expect the response to be?
Well, I think the response is going to be what the North Koreans have continued to do, which is buy time. Their missile engineers and their nuclear engineers are busy bees perfecting their program, and we cannot wake up one day and have them with a fully capable ICBM capable of striking the United States, or short-range missiles capable of holding our allies, the South Korean and Japanese, at risk. So if these talks don't go anywhere, I think we need to resume the maximum pressure and really clamp down on the North Koreans until they come to the table in a meaningful way.
Michael Waltz, the Republican congressman from Florida, appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Sandra.